Hi Paula and everybody at Philadelphia Cream Cheese. My name is Holly and I am from Central Oregon, and I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. I've had so much fun already, and this is just my first video, so I know it's going to be a lot more fun as we go along. And today I am going to make for you my vegetable strata. And with this dish, a lot of people think strata, ooh, egg dish, that's a breakfast thing, but actually with the cream cheese and the bread and all the veggies, you don't really get the egg taste. And it pairs well with ham and chicken. You could even do it with steak. It's more like a veggie side dish. So anyway, why don't we go ahead and get started. The first thing we're gonna do is I have about 2 cups of sourdough bread. I like a cracked wheat sourdough, and it's kind of a dense sourdough, and we're just going to layer it here in the bottom of our springform pan. You could do it in a 9x13, but I like the springform pan because when you take the edge off, you can get the nice pie slice and you see all the pretty layers of all your veggies and everything. So we're just going to lightly layer. It doesn't have to, you know, fill in every gap or anything. And then on top of that, we're going to use our Philadelphia cream cheese, my absolute favorite, and I like the full fat version, but you know, if you're watching your calories, you can cut that out and use their reduced fat. We got our cream cheese open, and you could cube it. I'm really just going to kind of slice and layer in the pan here on top of the bread. And you just want to, like I said, you don't have to cover every single gap. It's just going to be a nice light layer, and it'll just kind of melt together really nicely, so you won't have actual big chunks as we cook it. So as you can see here, we have just kind of put the cream cheese all over the bread in the bottom, and now we're going to do our veggies. Here I have about 2.5 cups of broccoli, and I like to buy just the bagged broccoli florets, the fresh ones, and I cut them to where they're just nice bite size if they're too big. And you know, there's a lot of really nice, you don't want really big ones, so I just cut them. And then we're going to have, this is about 1.5 cups of cremini mushrooms or baby portobellos, and I love to use my mushroom slicer for these. You get a nice even slice, and then I just cut them once in half. So we'll add those. And then here I have about 3/4 cup of diced red bell pepper. I love the flavor that the red bell pepper gives it, and the color. It looks so pretty together. So I'm just going to lightly toss this with my fingers, just kind of mix them up good, and then we're going to dump it here over the cream cheese. I'll spread it around real good. Make it nice and even. So here I have cracked 12 eggs in my bowl, and I'm just going to whisk them together. And then to that, we're going to add 1 cup of half and half. Okay, so here I have 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. I like to use the kosher salt. If you use regular table salt, you'll want to decrease the salt a little bit because it tends to be a little bit saltier. And then I've just grated some fresh ground pepper, ground some fresh ground pepper into the dish also. And I have about 1/2 teaspoon of fresh ground pepper. You could do more or less if you want. And then in this dish I have 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning and just a pinch of red pepper flakes, just to give it a little zing without making it spicy. You can decrease the seasonings again to taste. I like a little more bold flavor, so we'll just add in those. And then one last thing we're going to add in is a red pepper sauce, a hot sauce. And I'm going to do just shy of 1 teaspoon of the hot sauce. And again, I don't want it spicy. It's just to add a little flavor. You're like, kind of what is that flavor that I taste? So we'll get this all stirred together really well. And now we're just going to take our egg mixture and we're going to pour it all over the veggies and the bread. And then I'm just going to take a spatula and kind of press it all down. Kind of presses the egg into the bread so the bread absorbs it and kind of gets the veggies all nice and... my spatula broke. That's a little funny. Okay, so press it down really good. And then we're going to top it off with 2.5 cups of shredded cheese. This is a Mexican blend. You can use a Colby Jack, you can use just cheddar. I like the flavor of the Mexican blend. So we'll just top it off really good. Nice, good layer of cheese. And again, you can use more or less, depending on your liking. We'll spread it around really good. And what I've done with my springform pan is I just kind of wrapped the bottom edge with a little bit of foil, just in case the egg seeps out a little bit right in the beginning. Sometimes that's happened, and so just so it doesn't make a mess in my oven. And then we're going to, I've preheated my oven at 375 degrees. So now I'm going to cover the top with foil. The reason why I do the foil is to just help steam some of those veggies that are on top that aren't real soaked in the egg, just to give them a nice tenderness. And we're going to put it in our oven for about 35 minutes. And then we're going to take the foil off and do another probably 10 to 15 minutes until your knife comes out clean and the egg is all nice and cooked. So I'll put it in the oven and then I will see you back when it's done. And now I've brought it out of the oven and I've took my springform edge off. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier was that you want to make sure and spray your pan really good with a cooking spray so it doesn't stick. And I forgot to do that. But thankfully it came off okay. And I've cut a little bit and I'm ready to plate it. And this is just smelling so good. It is just making my stomach growl. So we will get a nice big slice here. You can see all the veggies. And we'll put it on our plate and then I'm just gonna chop up a little bit of chives. As they're rolling all off the counter. Just sprinkle little chives on top. I'll put a few on the plate here for garnish and some fresh basil. And there we have it. So again, this is the perfect side dish for really any meat, anything you want to pair it with. It goes really good with ham, chicken, steak. You know, you could always even make this up the night before, stick it in the fridge, and then in the morning, pop it in the oven, and you know, it'd be great for like an Easter brunch too with your ham. So I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to next week's. Thank you.